Have you ever noticed someone who never celebrates their own birthday? No posts, no parties, no excitement. While the world counts down like it's some grand festival, they move through the day as if it's invisible. Maybe you know someone like that, or maybe it's you. But here's the unsettling truth. This silence isn't random. It's psychological, and far darker than people think. Birthdays are not just dates on a calendar. They are mirrors that force us to confront how we feel about attention, recognition, and time. Most people can't handle that reflection, so they shrug it off. It's just another day. But deep inside, a different story is unfolding. People assume it's simple. They don't like attention. They're shy. They're private. Wrong. Those who avoid their birthdays have a psychological profile that's complex, layered, and deeply introspective. They see through the spectacle of celebrations, the forced smiles, the obligatory messages, the who remembered who didn't drama. To them, a birthday isn't joy, it's a test they never asked to take. Psychologists call it emotional self-protection, a survival instinct. Think about it, year after year of unmet expectations, forgotten wishes, or half-hearted gestures. Eventually, the brain adapts. Expect nothing, and you'll never be hurt. Birthdays become emotional minefields, so they detach. By refusing to celebrate, they regain power. They no longer let a date dictate their emotions. No rise, no fall. In a strange way, ignoring your birthday becomes a form of psychological freedom. People who don't celebrate often have a strong internal locus of control. Their self-worth isn't influenced by who posts, who remembers, or who shows up. They validate themselves from within, not from birthday wishes. But don't mistake their silence for lack of emotion. They feel more, not less. Every birthday becomes a private reflection. Who have I become? What changed? What did I lose? Who stayed? Who vanished? They just don't broadcast these thoughts. For some, the silence has deeper origins. Childhood emotional neglect, inconsistent affection, forgotten milestones. The mind remembers. Birthdays start to symbolize absence, not celebration. Others disconnect for philosophical reasons. Social media turned birthdays into competitions, performances for attention. They reject this artificial validation. To them, silence is truth. Celebration is noise. By not celebrating, they feel moments more intensely. Life becomes personal again. Every year feels sacred, not for the world, but for themselves. Their inner world becomes a private masterpiece. But society misinterprets this behavior. People think they're cold, emotionless, distant. They don't see the emotional depth behind the silence. They don't understand the courage it takes to face life privately. And here lies the darkest truth. Even the strongest, most private souls feel a quiet ache, not for attention, but for one genuine connection. Someone who understands without needing a celebration to prove their importance. This is the dark psychology behind people who ignore their birthdays. A dance between independence and longing, a blend of self-protection, introspection, quiet pain, and subtle strength. A refusal to let the world define their worth, a commitment to living life deeply, even if silently. This is not emptiness, it is complexity, it is humanity, and this is only the beginning. For most people, a birthday feels warm, bright, almost loud. For them, it feels intrusive. The idea of being celebrated makes them uneasy, as if a spotlight is being forced onto a part of themselves they keep hidden. They don't fear the day itself. They fear being seen in a way that doesn't feel real. Expectations turn the day into pressure. Are you excited? What are you doing today? Hope you're celebrating. None of these questions feel innocent to them. Each one is a reminder that the world expects joy on command, and they've never been able to manufacture that feeling on cue. People who avoid birthdays often practice a form of emotional minimalism. They strip away anything that feels forced, anything that feels performative. And birthdays are the most performative day of all. They prefer honesty over tradition, even if that honesty looks like silence. Here's a darker layer. Many have experienced birthday disappointment, so often that their brain anticipates it. Plans falling apart, people forgetting, a celebration that felt more like an obligation than love. Eventually, the mind learns to avoid the pain altogether. Some people grow up believing happiness is temporary, fragile, easily taken away. So they learn not to trust joy, not to trust attention, not to trust good memories. A birthday, something meant to be joyful, feels dangerous because it invites harm through expectation. Years of self-reliance carve a particular personality. hyper-independent. They expect nothing from anyone. They ask for nothing. They need nothing. At least that's what they tell themselves. Birthdays challenge this by highlighting the one thing they secretly crave, to be cared for without asking. Everything about them is rooted in authenticity. Fake smiles, they can sense them. Forced birthday wishes, they read right through them. They would rather have one genuine private moment of connection than a room full of people clapping for a reason they don't feel. For some, ignoring birthdays is philosophical. They don't view time like everyone else. Age doesn't scare them. Societal expectations do. They value growth, not milestones. Transformation, not tradition. Celebrating a number feels meaningless compared to the inner evolution they experience quietly. Others avoid birthdays because the date itself is tied to trauma. A household where birthdays weren't celebrated, a childhood where affection was inconsistent, a parent who forgot, a year that changed everything. Their silence isn't indifference, it's grief wrapped in routine. Most people don't realize how much emotional labor birthdays demand. Smiling, reacting, accepting gifts, pretending to enjoy attention. For those who are emotionally sensitive or introverted at their core, this feels exhausting. Not because they dislike people, but because they feel everything too deeply. Modern culture turns birthdays into a public event. Stories, posts, texts. It's no longer a day of meaning, it's a performance. People who reject this feel like they are protecting their identity from being consumed by others' expectations. Here's something surprising. Even people who ignore their birthdays often have small private rituals, a quiet walk, a favorite meal, a moment alone at night. They don't hate the day, they just choose to experience it inwardly. And yet, beneath all this independence is a hidden desire they rarely admit. They want someone who understands them so deeply that they know how to honor them without noise, without performance, without pressure. Just presence, just realness. These are the layers beneath their silence. Pain, protection, philosophy, independence, and longing woven into a single day. But there is a deeper truth still untouched. A truth that reveals what these people really want, and what their behavior says about their identity, their past, and their emotional needs. Deep down, the people who don't celebrate their birthday carry a quiet truth. They don't dislike the day. They distrust what the day reveals about them. A birthday exposes vulnerabilities they've worked years to hide. Needing attention, wanting connection, craving care. It's easier to bury the day than to confront those feelings. They fear the awkwardness of people trying, failing, or pretending. They fear getting a version of love that doesn't match their emotional language. Because the worst part isn't when someone forgets, it's when someone remembers the wrong way. That's when loneliness feels sharpest. So they build a shell around themselves. A shell made of routines, detachment, and quietness. It's not that they don't want to be celebrated. It's that they don't want to be disappointed again. This shell becomes their emotional armor, and birthdays threaten to crack it open. Here's the darkest psychology of it all. Many of them silently test the people in their lives. They don't remind anyone. They don't mention their birthday. They don't give hints. And then they watch. They watch who remembers, who notices, who cares without being told. Not because they're manipulative, but because emotional history has taught them not to trust words, only actions. Birthdays remind them of all the versions of themselves they've outgrown. The child who once felt excited, the teen who hoped someone would celebrate them, the young adult who stopped asking. Growing older isn't the fear. It's looking back and realizing how many years they spent pretending things didn't hurt. Avoiding their birthday becomes a coping mechanism, but also a statement. My worth isn't determined by who remembers today. It's their way of reclaiming dignity from a world that sometimes feels careless with their heart. This is their biggest contradiction. They act like they don't want love, but quietly crave the simplest form of it. Someone who understands. Someone who sees beneath the surface. Someone who knows they don't like big surprises, but would show up anyway, softly, gently, without pressure. Many people who avoid birthdays have been in relationships where their needs were dismissed. Forgotten birthdays, last-minute celebrations, caretakers who showed affection only when convenient. Over time, they internalize a painful belief. Maybe I don't deserve special attention. That belief follows them into adulthood like a shadow. They don't want balloons or noise. They don't want crowds or public posts. What they want is sincerity. A message at midnight from someone who knows their fears. A quiet dinner. A meaningful conversation. A moment that feels real, not rehearsed. Some of them spend the day alone, not because they're unloved, but because solitude feels safer. Birthdays become a day for self-reflection, for checking in with their mind, their progress, their wounds, their growth. It's not sadness, it's emotional maintenance. Even the strongest, most independent ones have a tiny hope tucked deep inside. I hope someone does something, even if I pretend I don't care. This hope is fragile, so fragile that admitting it feels like weakness, so they protect it beneath silence. Every once in a while, someone enters their life who sees them fully, without being told. Someone who understands the silence, feels the unspoken needs, respects the boundaries, and still shows up. The first time this happens, it's disarming. It's healing. It's the moment that begins to rewrite years of emotional programming. People who never celebrate their birthday aren't cold. They aren't emotionally distant. They aren't indifferent. The truth is much more human. They are protecting a heart that once cared too loudly and suffered quietly. Their silence is a survival skill. Their avoidance is emotional intelligence. Their indifference is a mask built from experience. Strip away all the psychology, all the trauma, all the defenses, and here's the truth at the center. They don't want a birthday party. They want to feel understood. They want to feel valued in the language that makes sense to them. Not with noise, but with presence. Not with gifts, but with sincerity. Not with celebration, but with connection. And that is the dark psychology of why some people never celebrate their own birthday. It's not about the day, it's about the story behind it.